Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Hope you're having a good day. It's the end of the day for me, so I'm super happy. And yes, thank you, Jerry, for the recap. As always, we are back with more Vampire the Masquerade Reckoning of New York. We did beat up a tech bro last time who totally wasn't a reference to someone in real life. And, we are shipping the leads pretty hard. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I think it's going to exactly be like my Kadir thirst for the main character in Coteries, where it goes absolutely nowhere, even though it should have went everywhere. But I hope you're all doing well today. We're on night 3, and I believe we only have 4 nights. At least that was my impression from when we were in Elysium, but I don't know if there's more. Friday feeling. He had it coming. Yeah, he did have it coming. Absolutely. I'd kick his ass again. Would do again. Right, we were supposed to meet Sansaricq, the ministry guy, and we have the option to go to church or the park, and I said that I wanted to go to the park because Tamika from Coteries and Shadows of New York is my favorite character of all time from the Draw Distance games, even more so than Kadir. I haven't been on stream for you to see how much I love Tamika, but you know, that's not your fault. But I don't think she's here. I think she's canonically left for Los Angeles, but hope springs eternal, because we're vampires and we are eternal. All right. I hop out of Patrick's car at the edge of Morningside Park, and he speeds off towards the church to search for signs of Sansaricq. I'm saying that completely wrong. Another ship day. It's Friday, which means ship day. All days that end in Y are ship days. From this vantage point, there's nothing particularly poetic about the park. The absurd number of stairs scattered about could inspire some lines, though. But at the end of the night, a park is just a park. Wrong. Which really makes me wonder what the hell a group of radical kindred would be doing here in the first place. I don't know much about Sansaricq, just the scraps I've picked up. He's the most powerful snake in New York, keeping the ministry in a real iron grip. An aggressive, territorial asshole. No wonder Reynard had a sort of twisted respect for the guy. I love the ministry. As for their dealings, I can't say much either, only that they were infrequent, costly, and involved stuff way beyond our regular inventory. Yeah, right. And I'm just the logistics gal my ass. Bah, no matter. I've got to comb through this entire park anyway, tree by tree, snowflake by snowflake. The search quickly turns into a boring slog. I love this art, though. It's so pretty. I mean, it's supposed to look all dismal and terrible and cold, but I think it's gorgeous. This is where I want to be right now. I miss the high-stakes cons I used to run with Reynard. What's really funny about Callie is that she gives off this air of like, I don't care, but she talks about Reynard all the time and talks about him like she loves him like a dad. And I think she has not come to terms with that at all. That's the way it's written anyway. I miss the sketchy deals in those creepy, deserted parking lots. Hell, even blowing sand out of my nose at festivals was more thrilling than this endless sea of snow and trees. And guess what? Sansaricq is definitely not here. No trace of him whatsoever. I'm about to throw in the towel and drag my ass back to the rendezvous point when the wind brings the faint sound of distant conversation to my ears. I turn around and quietly follow the noise. I spot them just a minute later, kindred snooping around, clearly on the lookout for something, and I really, really want to know what they're talking about. Oh yeah, I can't use the passage. It sucks. Tamika is Bae. Oh, that's right. That's right. What's her brother's name? Oh, I forget. I love the thing in Shadows with when you're trying to like help Tamika out and deal with Torque, who's like basically stalking her. It's why I have such a negative opinion of Torque, because Tamika's basically like, he's stalking me and trying to keep me like shackled to him and keep me in New York, and I'm like, get him. Ooh, be softer than snowflakes. Be very, very quiet. Let's be softer than snowflakes, I think. Ooh, I got hungrier. The snow crunches underfoot, a sure sign it's cold out. Not that I can feel it, but you pick up the clues over time. However, my footsteps just will not do. I concentrate, dampening the sounds around me, engulfing them in a blanket of silence, making my gait quieter than a whisper. Then I move. The snow gives under my weight, but noiselessly. I move cautiously, sticking close to the trees. Soon I'm close enough to overhear snippets of the conversation. Damn, I was really hoping we'd catch Sansaricq here. Bet the asshole turned into a snake and holed up somewhere underground. Can the serpents even do that? Fuck if I know. No sign of that raven trickster either. Think we should wrap it up? Let's give it another sweep before we head back. If we show up empty-handed, she'll personally throw us into the Hudson. More like she'll strip us for parts. Not the subject I would... Wait, who's there? No, I'm silent. Oh, threat increases. They both snap their heads at me, and I instinctively step back. My hunger and my threat level is super high. Whoopsies. Whether they see me or not, they lunge forward. All I can do is flee into the labyrinth of trees, hoping that they haven't tagged me with some kind of tracker. It feels like forever, just me and the wind howling, but I finally shake them off. I get to the meeting spot just as Patrick pulls over. I throw myself into the car, slamming the door behind me. Go, just fucking drive. He slams on the gas. Within seconds, we're tearing through the streets, the city a blur. Yes, Matthew Dawkins. Richard Dawkins is a author about atheism. I'm fairly certain. You mean Matthew Dawkins? Yeah, Gentleman Gamer does a lot of stuff with Red Moon roleplaying. Yeah, Callahan is gone, so can we still hate Callahan? I guess you can still hate him because he's dead. Yeah, I'm not gonna tell you not to. Callahan was the worst. I mean, just his whole background of just he's like meh, I'm a blue blood, but they're not showing me any respect. Or horrible and annoying. He slams on the gas. Within seconds, we're tearing through the streets. The city a blur. What happened? Did you run into trouble? Just a deadly chase through the fucking park. Ran into some kindred trying to track down sansaricq, spinning some crazy shit about the Hudson. They were after a raven trickster too. Holy shit. You think they were talking about me? Is this play about us? I finish rambling and look at Patrick. He's frowning, lips deathly tight, one hand white-knuckling the steering wheel, the other nervously spinning the dice ring. He's so lost in thought he doesn't respond, and I snap, a little surprised by my own irritation. Hey, did you even hear me? Yes, sorry, I don't know. I'm glad they did not catch you. Yeah, you glad? You glad that they didn't catch me? Oh my god. He's so spaced out, I bet his thoughts aren't even on this hemisphere. I want to keep pestering him, but I realize he's driving with a purpose, and I have no idea where we're heading. What the hell's happening? Where are we going? His shoulders finally drop a bit. He loosens his grip on the steering wheel. I found some recently deceased handbook for the recently deceased. Hunters in the crypt of St. Patrick's. One of them had this note on her. I squint at the horrible handwriting. Some wild numbers, coordinates most likely, then a description. Black, yellow eyes, highly aggressive, exercised extreme caution. Well, it certainly screams sansaricq, but what's the deal with these coordinates? They point to North Brother Island. It's in the East River. A fairly bleak spot, which fits the ministry to a T, now that I think about it. That is where we are headed. Good. Just get me the fuck out of here. Ka-chow. Yeah. No, you're fine. You're fine. I just wanted to make sure you know. Yeah, Matthew Dawkins does a lot of stuff for Onyx Path Publishing. Does a lot of stuff with Red Moon Roleplaying, as far as I remember. Yeah. He's around. Okay. All right. So, okay. So he went to the church. We went to the park. So now we're going to Brother Island. Little Brother Island? North Brother Island. I don't know New York. Hardly at all. I used to be one of those kids who always... Oh, God. This lettering kills me. This great. I used to be one of those kids who was always running around and stirring up some shit after school. Shocking, I know. One of the favorite pastimes of my gang of little rascals was exploring the ruins of the Old Hill Hospital at night. Well, exploring might be a bit of a stretch. We never actually got inside, just dared each other to stare into the windows for as long as we could. Usually I was the last girl standing, but let me tell you, those hours after dusk in the fall when every whisper of the wind, every rustle of the trees was multiplied by 100, they were torture. Now I kind of miss those days. So when Patrick and I hit the, wrecked pier of North Brother Island and see the derelict buildings nearby, I almost squeal with delight. Almost. The ambience is pretty much ruined by the shiny new RIBs moored along the pier. Is North Brother Island the place where they had the quarantine during a tuberculosis outbreak in New York, like in the early 20th century? Is that place? That is also referenced in New York by Night. Raoul is Tamika's brother's name. Thank you. I didn't remember that at all. It still doesn't click when you say it, but I totally believe you. Some of them have clearly been used in the last few hours, judging by the mud and melted snow on the seats. Just to make sure we're on the same page, what exactly is your connection to sansaricq? Be fairly honest, Callie. Be careful, Callie. Be quiet, Callie. Let's be careful. Just work stuff. He was one of Reynard's clients. You have said that before, yes, but how does that involve you? I nervously chew on my lower lip. I really don't want to spill all the beans. I've grown used to Patrick, and I don't want him to see me in an even worse light, or gods forbid, dislike me. I decide on a tiny little lie by omission. He used to place orders through Reynard. I was the one who actually got the stuff, and then Reynard passed it along to him. Never even met the guy. I see. That is consistent with what you have said before about them having a relatively good relationship. How do you plan to exploit that? I snort, half pissed that he knows me too damn well, half amused that by good relationship crap, since all it means is they didn't try to actively kill each other. I'm just about to break it down for him when suddenly we're cut off by gunshots. And they're getting closer. We duck down and observe as some guy comes tearing onto the pier, screaming his lungs out in terror. He's running backwards, tripping over every bump, while desperately trying to shoot at something in the trees, unaware that his clip has been empty for a while. He's decked out head to toe in urban warfare gear, reminiscent of the hunters I had the pleasure of meeting a few times lately. He hasn't noticed us yet, blinded by his delirious fear. Perfect moment to strike. Ooh. Oh my god. Oh, I could feed, though. Or I could feed. Or I could let myself get to the point where I let the beast do its job, which is also funny. So, and also, I'm going to let Patrick take care of it. I want to see what he can do. Let's let Patrick take care of him. I hold back, realizing that I'm actually curious how Patrick handles situations like that. Yes. I catch his eye and jerk my head towards the screamer. Patrick gives me a confused look, then sizes up his target. I blink, and the next thing I know, he's already on the guy, fangs deep in his neck. That could have been us, goddammit. Honestly, I didn't expect stiff upper lip Patty to tear into the hunter with such ferocity, but who am I to judge? We like to pretend we're above mortals, but in the end, we're all just slaves to our hunger. All good? Patrick carefully sets the body down and wipes his crimson mouth clean, grimacing in disgust. Yes, forgive me, but that was quite revolting. I laugh a little. All is forgiven. If those were sansaricq's ministers who pushed this poor bastard to the edge, I'm not exactly eager to meet him myself. Patrick nods, looking at the lifeless body. He makes no move to hide it, so I don't bother either. Hiccup. We share a quick glance before sneaking cautiously through the thicket towards the ruins looming over the bare trees. We tread carefully through the bushes, mindful of the crunch of the snow underfoot. But let's be honest, the distant gunshots would have covered the sound of a stampede. Although the shooting has died down in the last couple of minutes, and replaced by blood-curdling screams of torment. Amazing. We stumble upon several corpses. Awesome. And surprisingly, a decapitated skeleton with scraps of decomposing flesh still clinging to it. The murder of crows feasting on the scene couldn't care less. To them, carrion's carrion. It gives us both some pause. Really? Why? Those fuckers. The screams are almost drowning out the gunfire now, suggesting that the ministers might be getting the upper hand. Better them than the hunters. I just hope they don't mistake us for enemies and decide we deserve a similar fate. Great, Callie, you've got yourself right in the middle of a fucking war zone. The whole city feels like a battlefield these nights. It's just our luck that we arrived right in time for the hostilities here. So what's the plan? We could try sneaking past, hoping the hunters are too busy with the serpents to notice us, or... Look over there. There's a spot under that collapsed floor where we could hide out and wait for this to blow over. Patrick cocks his head, pondering, absent-mindedly twirling his ring, not in a panic this time, but more like using it to focus. Huh. Finally, he drops his hands and looks at me calmly. I say we go with whatever your Daredevil instinct recommends. All right. I'm getting real sick of this. He very clearly acts. He says he's a caitiff, and I get that. And I get that he says he's a caitiff, and I get it, all right? But he very clearly acts like a Malkavian. And there's too much about him that screams Malkavian. His shirt, the little gestures on his belt, the fact that he's constantly spinning that little ring, and it very much seems like he's tapping into the hive mind or using some ability of Auspex of premonition. I just want to know what your deal is, dude. Please. Dear God. You sure you didn't hit your head on our way over here? Positive. Let's score some points with sansaricq. Well, let's kick some ass then. Maybe that'll score us a few points with sansaricq right off the bat. Patrick nods and follows me as I kick down the door and enter the ruined building, every sense heightened as my vitae surges in anticipation of a fight. The floor is a jigsaw of body parts. You could probably piece together a few whole bodies from the mess if you were so inclined, but I left my glue gun in the RV. Blech. I walk over them carelessly, only half noticing the sickening crunch of bone under my boot. As we creep through the building, Patrick suddenly stops and flashes 3 fingers at me. I press myself against the wall, tuning into the hunters in the next room. Patrick slyly kicks a pebble to mimic footsteps. Fooled, 2 hunters burst out, shotguns at the ready, but with just a flick of his wrist, Patrick has 1 hunter gunning down the other. Confusion, okay, so we got dementation, perhaps? Confusion washes over the shooter's face just before I rip his throat out. Do I eat? A little? No? Okay. The last one starts freaking out, blasting his assault rifle everywhere, trying to shoot us through the walls. I duck behind the doorframe and sneak a quick glance. He's alone, terrified, and the crows cawing outside the window are not helping him one bit. But let's be real. In this horror show, we are the monsters. Ooh, I could get even hungrier and maybe freak out and Diablerize Patrick and then game over. That sounds fun. Take no step further. Yep, got hungrier. Love it. I take a deep breath and reinforce it with my vitae, wrenching the voice out of my throat as if shredding my vocal cords. Halt! Halten Sie! Well, the hunter freezes for a moment, scared shitless, but before he can shake off that terror, Patrick moves closer, rips the gun out of his hand, and clobbers the mortal with the butt. He touched the butt. And I know that in games that usually means the enemy is knocked out, not actually dead. But the way his head explodes like a smashed watermelon, yeah, I don't think this hunter's getting up anytime soon. The clamor we caused inevitably draws more trouble. As we turn to leave, a bunch of hunters fleets in, weapons at the ready. We go back to back and switch places, throwing them off balance, but before we can lunge, we hear a loud ting, and the hunter in front of the door looks like he's about to lose his head. And that's exactly what happens. His head is severed by a cut so clean that his body stands dumbly for a moment before crumbling onto the ground. Behind stands a group of serpents, all decked out in leathers and gold, scary as fuck. For a split second, the room goes deathly quiet, and then all hell breaks loose. Patrick and I hardly need to intervene. The hunters and serpents clash with each other, gunshots echo, cries fill the air, and blood flows freely. It's all over in less than a minute, and the kindred predictably emerge victorious, leaving one last victim unscathed. The silence that falls is so oppressive that it almost buzzes in my ear. I start to think I've gone deaf, but I see Patrick checking his ears and I relax a little, relieved that I'm not the only one so overwhelmed. The serpents don't move, don't speak, only look at us judgmentally, calculatingly. Love that for them. In this heavy silence, filled only by the scent of blood, the sound of approaching footsteps echoes like thunder. The man who enters the room is barely my height, but he carries himself with the grandeur of a king, the ruthless ruler of his domain. Eli Sansaricq, which is how I'm pronouncing it, it's probably wrong, the most powerful snake himself. From the silence of his movements, it is instantly clear that his thunderous entrance was all for show, an intimidation, a warning. Magnanimously, he was giving the assailants a chance to flee in disgrace. Or letting them scatter for a more interesting hunt, more likely. Hell, I'm not sure why Patrick and I didn't just bolt. The sound effects. The last remaining hunter tries frantically to crawl away, but he collapses under Sansaric's steel-capped boot. That's when I realize why the serpent is walking so oddly. He's dragging a dead hunter, impaled on the enormous claws protruding from his fingers. The body slides to the ground with a hollow thud. A kindred who seems to be his child, second in command, hands him a clean handkerchief, which he uses to wipe the blood off his hands, and then he promptly flings it onto the corpse. Standing over the whimpering hunter, he surveys the mortal with sheer disdain, then tilts his head to make direct eye contact with me. Given that you've been smeared with the blood of the cattle, am I right to assume that you are not part of their pathetic assault? There is something to him, this youth pastor intensity, that prompts me to answer immediately, and recklessly. Please, I've had enough bullshit from their crew already. No, we're siblings in arms here. Let us not get ahead of ourselves. I toss him a sour glance, making me look uncool in front of the battle pastor. Sansaric's gaze locks on me unblinking, his posture rigid as a cobra's. His stare is so intense that it almost makes me sweat. If I could sweat, that is, and if I weren't so damn used to pressure. I tried to appear relaxed and confident when he lets out a short, sharp whistle. Instantly, two of his serpents lift the last hunter, propping his limp body into a standing position. But Sansaric doesn't spare him a glance. His eyes are fixed on me. Oh my god, he's obsessed with me. He's been a real annoyance, this one. Quite the rogue, wouldn't you say? Of course you would. Why don't you teach him a lesson? It's clearly not a real question, and the only acceptable response is a dutiful, yes, sir. Oh, Cative can have clan banes, fun flaw, so it's not possible. Yeah, I know. I know. They have that, that's, what was that, in the player's guide? They did that merit for the Cative? Or flaw, rather. Malcative. Yeah, that's what he is. He's a Malcative. Hello, welcome in. Oh my god. Lingering kiss. I think I have to. Love what you hate. I think I have to. Yeah. I don't think I'm allowed to not do a lingering kiss if that's an option. I think that's in my contract. The perpetually spinning cogs in my head go into overdrive, looking for a way to impress Sansaricq. What do I know about him? He'd relish a show of power, that's for sure, but in what flavor? Cruel? Formidable? I'm running out of time. I feel my excitement rising like the tide, and the itch to do something dangerous and reckless returns with suffocating strength. I seize the whimpering mortal by the hair and plunge my fangs deep into his neck, letting my power surge through me and into his flesh during our unholy communion. I drink his blood, reveling in the way it temporarily quenches my hunger, but most of all, I make it feel good. Electrifying, unparalleled. No, don't! This hunter won't last long without yearning for another kiss. Just like a man stranded in the desert would beg, maim, kill for a drop of water, he would do anything, everything, to satisfy this overwhelming need for more. At least for a time. I detach myself from his neck and gently lower him to the ground, his eyes glazed and vacant. His hand trembles as it reaches for his throat, fingers tenderly brushing the bite mark with a mix of longing and astonishment. I step back, giving Sansaricq a smug, expectant look. He gives a nod of amusement. Interesting idea, making a hunter addicted to what he hates as much as he fears it. I nod, thankful for what I guess is a compliment. Sansaric's snake-like eyes finally shift from me to that pathetic pile of crap on the ground that used to be a proud hunter. But it's not enough. He approaches the hunter slowly, lazily, and then with both hands lifts the mortal off the ground by the shoulders. I watch from the sidelines as Sansaric's bearing changes completely. Gone is the relentless intensity, the danger, the zeal. His eyes look soft and sweet when he locks them with the hunter's and murmurs something into his ears, gently as if soothing a frightened animal. I watch with increasing surprise as the hunter melts into Sansaric's arms and embraces him, sobbing into the crook of his neck and clawing desperately at his back as if trying to draw him closer. God, it looks intimate, reverent, an encounter with the most beloved divine. Sansaricq carefully pulls away, ignoring the hunter's clinging hands, and fishes out a hand grenade from the hunter's gear. Return to your patron. Make him see the error of his ways. Christ. The hunter immediately gets up, feet unsteady, and limps away through the door and into the cold darkness. His gait is awkward and clearly uncomfortable because he doesn't, not even for a second, avert his worshipful eyes from Sansarick's face. Come. He struts towards the pier, his entourage obediently in tow. And of course, we're dragged along too, thanks to an overly persistent serpent who thinks shoving us is somehow necessary. It's not like we have a choice, right? Oh, God. With no more distractions, the path seems way shorter than I remember. I can see one of those ribs, RIBs, bobbing on the East River in the distance. It must be that charmed hunter off to ruin his boss's night. Now. Sansaricq turns to Patrick and me, sizing us up with an icy glare, but even though his tone regains that frightening intensity from before, now there's a hint of benevolence. You have the misfortune of catching me in a nasty mood, I'm afraid. But if you provide an acceptable explanation for trespassing on my turf, I might just let you go. Well? I flick a glance at Patrick and catch his subtle nod out of the corner of my eye. Name's Callie, and this here's... Oh, I know who that is. The Baron's lapdog, the court's errand boy. Errand boy, I'm more interested in you. Gotta say, being in this kind of spotlight doesn't exactly boost my confidence. I'm Reynard Castle's child. I run with his coterie, and I know you've had business relations with him. I was actually the one who rushed the delivery of those trinkets you wanted. I didn't realize Sansarick's face could grow even more sour, but here we are. His lips curl down, he knits his eyebrows, and he glares at me like I just kicked his cat. But then, unexpectedly, he throws his head back and laughs. Loud, free, mocking laughter that makes me lose my cool. His laughter abruptly stops, and he's back to staring at me coldly, unblinkingly, perfectly poised. I haven't heard from good old Ray in months, child. Whatever you think you procured for me went to someone else's hands. He falls silent briefly, and then his serpent eyes narrow. Do you even know what exactly it was that you acquired for him? My silence is his answer. Not gonna lie, his words hit me hard, and I'm a little flustered. Reynard rarely deigned to share his plans with me, but it wasn't like he made a habit of lying straight to my face. Why would he hide it all from me, specifically? As Sansaricq makes yet another disparaging sound at me, Patrick clears his throat and shifts the Setite's scalding focus onto himself. Would you mind telling me about your last dealings with Castle? Any information could help. I roll my eyes at this stiff and obvious attempt at wheedling information out of Sansaricq, but he only smirks, then sighs as if thinking about Reynard brought him great anguish. Which, admittedly, it might have. Nobody really thinks about Reynard unless they absolutely have to, and by that time, it's usually too late. I don't mind, though I must say that brat truly was insufferable, fixated on the antediluvians like a child obsessed with a new toy. I'm staring at him, totally lost. Antediluvians? That's a first. What did Reynard even want with the antediluvians? And why did he go asking the ministry? As if reading my mind, Sansaricq tosses me a sharp look and continues. How he came to learn that my clan, me in particular, holds knowledge of our most ancient ancestors is a mystery to me. But seek me out he did, asking numerous questions about ancestry, power, and blood. I jump a little when he waves his hand dismissively after such a long period of standing still. Let me be perfectly clear. The history of Clan Ravnos was never of interest to me, and I had little desire to discuss it. Neither had Reynard up until a few months ago. What prompted his interest in these topics? I haven't the slightest, but I'd bet the promise of profit was his primary motivation. What I will say, however, is that his focus on, how do you put it, business relations waned significantly. That's news to me as well. As far as I know, it was pretty much business as usual all the fucking time. For the first time in our conversation, Sansarick's face twists into the picture of true savagery. No more pleasantness, exasperation, or hints of courtesy, only anger, relentless, and feral. Reynard Castle has been slipping in his promises, O child of his. I am done graciously waiting for reparations. I sneak a look at Patrick and see him nod at me encouragingly, so I collect all the broken and uncertain pieces of myself and put them back together again. You can do it, Callie. Be charming, be careful, be calm. Never make promises, even those you intend to keep. I get it. So let me speak plainly. Reynard's missing. Whether he's gone for good or just lying low, I can't say. No one's been able to reach him. I think he's out there somewhere hiding, but he's off the radar. You've got your ear to the ground. Heard anything about Reynard in the last few nights? I have no interest in that brat in so much as the objects he swore to procure for me. And since now I'm aware he had no hand in obtaining them, it is high time that I move on to greener pastures, don't you think? Especially since I know they intend to deliver. Yes? Sansaricq almost seems like he might lighten up with a wink, but no, his expression snaps back to its usual icy detachment as he leans forward slightly, his gaze as steady and chilling as a snake's. Reynard Castle meddles with powers beyond his ken. I wouldn't be surprised if this sudden uptick in hunter activity was linked to his actions, one way or another. I wait, hoping he'll elaborate on this strange and frankly insulting connection he's implying, but it seems he considers our discussion done. He straightens up and signals to his second-in-command, who quickly moves in to receive his whispered instructions. There's no way this can be all we take away from such a critical meeting. I catch Patrick's eye and subtly move closer to him, ensuring our next words are shielded from any serpent ears. What's our next move? Sansaricq's clueless about Reynard too. Your sire's messing with dangerous shit? Great. Tell me something I don't know. What now? He hesitates briefly. Does it bother you? That castle's been undermining you and reneging on commitments that involve your work. Oh, I don't know. Nothing good comes with someone with a session on the Antediluvians. I mean, what does he want? Ooh. There's a lot of possibilities there, and all of them are terrible. What do you think? Of course it bothers me. What do you think? He was supposed to screw other people over, not me. I see. Shall we take our farewell then? Hold up, there's one more thing I need to ask. I back away from our little huddle and cough to grab Sansaricq's attention. He acknowledges me right away, but he takes his sweet time wrapping up his chat before shooting me an impatient look. Just one more thing before we scram. The circulatory system seems to have a hit list, and Reynard's sitting at the top. Any clue what that's about? Sansaricq's eyes narrow in anger and contempt. Well, color me astonished. He was blabbing on and on about his latest illustrious benefactor who could help him circumvent the red market. He makes such a sour face that if we were still mortals, I'm sure he'd be spitting in disgust. Seems like he ended up on the bad side of that slumbering bitch on the Hudson. What? Frankly, good riddance with that. I know, we saw her. She looks interesting. Something clicks in my mind as he speaks. That slumbering bitch on the Hudson. Didn't those lackeys in Morningside Park mention some pissed-off kindred ready to chuck them into the Hudson? They surely did. I might have heard a rumor or two about the Hudson situation, but who do you mean exactly? She's got a funny name. I can't remember it. My attention remains fixed on Sansaricq, but I can't ignore the abrupt, frantic motion of Patrick violently spinning his damned ring. Sansaricq gnashes his teeth and a low, seething murmur ripples through his followers. That's, yeah, quite obvious. Yeah, there we go. That's Samitsi, bitch. Vritra. I don't know. Or whatever the fuck her name is. You don't know her? Then count your blessings, child. What's her deal? Her deal is that she waltzes in like she owns the place and steals what's been rightfully ours for a decade. His eyes blaze with a pure yellow light, fangs elongating as his jaw loosens in a furious scream. I swear I catch a glimpse of a forked tongue flickering back into his mouth as he calms down, regaining his usual captive appearance. I had two and two together and realized this Vritra must have been the one who ousted the serpents from their turf in Harlem. I shoot a knowing glance at Patrick, but he's too fixated on that damn ring of his, because she's a Moncavian! I don't know. So I decided to press Sansaricq a bit harder. I wonder what this kind of relationship Reynard has with this Vritra. Do you think? I do not think about her, child of Reynard, nor do I wish to start. My time is precious. We're done here. So much for pressing. Sansaricq fully turns his back on me, conferring with some of his serpents. I strain my ears to hear their whispers, not even out of need to hear what they're saying, but more out of sheer curiosity. But Patrick gently tugs on my sleeve. I think our meeting has concluded. We should leave before Sansaricq himself drives us off his turf. Not much in the way of clues. You're right, I guess. I really hope for more clues than that. Well, at least we confirmed that Sansaricq has nothing to do with Castle's disappearance. Let's discuss strategy once we're gone from this place. I nod, clear my throat loudly, and speak without waiting for Sansaricq to face me. Thanks for not throwing us out on our asses sooner, Sansaricq, and for the info too. We'll get out of your hair now. I spin on my heel, but his stare halts me dead in my tracks. You should leave the city, child. Looking for that sire of yours will yield nothing but death and ruin. And if you're leaving means that brat digs himself deeper into his own shit. He gives me a smirk, the first one yet. Then I might be willing to lend a hand. I'm ready to snap at him, scream in his face that I don't need his damn pity, but then it hits me like a freight train. He's not offering help out of sympathy. He'd get off on watching Reynard suffer, no doubt about it, but then his offer? It's like this weird mix of prickly-ass kindness, something you hardly ever see in our kindred world. And it's that fucked-up kindness alone that keeps my mouth shut. So instead, I give a silent nod and hook arms with Patrick, oh my god, as we dip out of that decrepit building into the frigid dead of night. Gotcha. Can't. Too much talking. No detours? We're still on 9-3, huh? Connecting the dots. Reynard's exploits have me even more on edge than the carnage that happened on the island. I need to figure out my next move. Even I have heard some of the crazy legends that popped up around the ministry over the years. I don't give a shit if they can actually control the elements. But the second we bailed from the shithole on North Brother Island, a ruthless wind kicked up, shoving us right back to our boat. It was like Mother Nature screaming at us to get the hell out, to run, ditch this cursed dump before it sucked us dry. So yeah, we totally bailed. Bail. We zoomed across the East River and only chilled when that wicked wind finally took a break from breathing down our necks. That's when it dives into the icy Hudson, stirring up wild waves. As we are talking on this pier, the thunderous crash of the water drowns out our voices. All fierce and intense, like it's slurping up our words and stashing them away. Let's recapitulate. First, Jessica Wainwright says Reynard Castle is now #1 on the circulatory system's hit list. Patrick isn't the type to make his big gestures while he talks. He usually just spins his ring or shoves his hands deep in his pockets. But this time he's putting on a bit of a show, ticking off imaginary bullet points on his fingers. Yeah, and I'm probably going down with him if I don't stop digging. Not like I've got much of a choice anyway. Correct. And second, Eli Sansaricq swears he hasn't talked to Reynard Castle in months. And the items? Kinda? Usually it's juicy tidbits I find online, but yeah, let's go with items. Right. The items you arranged for Sansaricq through Castle haven't shown up yet. Castle has also developed a rather intense, almost obsessive interest in the antediluvians, but his reasons and objectives are still a mystery. I just quietly nod along. Reynard Castle has been MIA for the past few nights despite having meetings lined up. He goes quiet for a bit, spinning his ring like he's trying to tether his thoughts to something solid. In all honesty, none of this sounds promising. Not for finding him, and definitely not for his safety. He stops talking and just stares off into space, fiddling with his ring. What else is new? But there's another piece of intel we've dug up. And there's that Samitsi from the Hudson. Vritra, was it? Sansaricq mentions she's after Reynard. Don't know much about her, just that she's got some sort of show on the Hudson. We should definitely look into her. That ring of his is spinning faster now, and I somehow sense that Patrick's about to piss me off with another load of bullshit. It hits me all of a sudden. He does that a lot, doesn't he? Spins that ring and then spouts nonsense or flips his stance. I'm not convinced that's the smartest approach. What solid proof do we actually have that ties her to Castle, aside from the rumblings of a disgruntled serpent? There we go. None, but then again, we don't have much of anything solid, so we might as well chase up what leads we do have, right? That makes sense. He keeps spinning his ring, his expression smoothing out like he's trying to straighten his thoughts. However, I think it might be better to focus our investigation on the circulatory system. Is this him being pragmatic, anxious? Or maybe did he just spin the ring and let fate decide? Honestly, that feels way riskier than just chatting with one kindred. I can't believe I'm the one who wants to play it safe. There's no way he lets sheer chance guide his actions, right? Not Mr. Cool and Collected. It's got to be something about Vritra herself. Is she really that intimidating? Are you scared of her? Well, sansaricq did imply that she single-handedly ousted his entire group out of Harlem. To be fair, he only suggested that she just does whatever she wants, and he's not a fan because she totally stepped on his toes. He turns away and spins his ring faster as yet another realization dawns on me. From what little I know, it's out of character for Patrick to be scared of someone he hasn't met. Hold on. Do you know her? Like, personally? I don't. Well, I've heard of her. Spin. Word travels fast, and she's been the talk of the town for some time now. She's quite the enigma. Spin. No one knows where she came from or why she chose New York, only that she invades territories and stands her ground decisively. Spin. And that unknown element is precisely what makes her a threat. Spin. I'm so tempted to rip that fucking ring off his finger and smash it to pieces. Whoopsies. I shut my eyes and grit my teeth, trying to concentrate. Rumors. Seriously, you know, we can't trust the rumor mill. It's like the lifeblood of kindred politics. Everyone's been hyping up the sansaricq as this big scary motherfucker, and look, the guy's practically a sweetheart. Maybe we just caught him at an opportune moment. Exactly, we might just catch Vritra on a good day too. Perhaps, but the fact remains many kindred who went to see her never returned. And the same can be said about the sheriff. I don't get why you're all weird about looking into Vritra, especially since you've never even met her. Or so you claim. He stops spinning his ring and grips it tightly, his knuckles turning a shade paler. The main difference between her and the Camarilla is that with the ivory tower, you can occasionally talk your way out of the deal, negotiate like you did a couple of nights ago. With Vritra, the story has just one ending. You disappear. His explanation almost makes sense, but he won't even look at me as he speaks, just gazes off into nothing, fingers constantly dancing on his stupid ring. And while I get that everyone has their quirks, I'm not demented enough to think I don't have any. It's really starting to get on my fucking nerves. You know what? As much as it kills me to say it, you're right. This Vritra trick is way too dicey to just waltz up to. Let's stick to something more solid for now. Yes, exactly. He sounds so relieved it almost makes me feel bad for what I'm about to do. Almost. But then he starts spinning that goddamn ring again. It's just that... this is killing me. I need to do something with my hands before I literally explode. A look of concern flickers across his face. Literally explode? Does that have something to do with your clan? Nah, it's just how I'm wired. Got a coin or something I can toss? Maybe a pebble? A button? He gives me a puzzled look, but dutifully digs into his pocket and hands me a coin. A quid, if I'm not mistaken. Thanks, so... oh shit, looks like the serpents are having second thoughts about letting us walk. As he turns to look, confused, I swiftly snag both the coin and his cherished ring from his hand. Before he can turn back, I slip the ring on my finger and step back. Never mind, probably just my mind playing tricks. Hey, what's up with your ring? Up close, the ring is actually pretty intricate, even kind of beautiful. It's a dice spinner that mimics a d20 die. I give it a flick. It lands on a 1. I choose not to take that as an omen. My ring? I lift my hand and give my finger a little wave, flashing the double band. If he were mortal, Patrick would be the portrait of distress right now with his pupils shrinking to dots. He reaches out with a trembling hand. Oh my god. Give it back. Why the fuss? It's a cool piece and all, but seriously, what's the big deal? You don't understand. I really need it back. Please. I stand my ground with my arms. I would give it back to him right now. I wouldn't have taken it in the first place. Watching him falter. His body tenses as if to jump, then relaxes abruptly. His hands clench and unclench, and it's clear he's struggling to keep himself composed, almost on the verge of kneeling. I know he's been putting on a show these past few nights. He's a pro, and I get that. Game recognizes game. But right now, he looks so downright pathetic that I have to really remind myself that we're both just playing our parts here. Callie, I'm serious, please. It could turn really ugly, really fast. Give it back, just give it back. He seems so. Am I the bad guy here? Am I the drama? I don't think I'm the drama. Maybe I am. Am I the villain? I don't think I'm the villain. This can't go on. I need to find out. I will if you tell me what the... Whoa. I will if you tell me what the fucking problem is. Look at this from my angle, will you? I feel like I'm about to lose my head here, and you're acting like it's fine to gamble with my existence. You get how messed up that sounds, right? It's not what you think. Just please hand it over and... And then what? You'll just skirt around the issue. That's all you ever fucking do. He stays quiet, teeth clenched, shivering on the ground as if he's going through withdrawal. Who knows, maybe he is. You really don't think much of me, do you? Haven't I shown you I'm reliable enough? Come on, Padra, quit the game just this once and trust me. What's going on with you? I might be able to help, you know. I pry his hand away from the decaying plank that he's nearly crushed, slip the ring onto his finger, and step back, just in case he decides to take a well-deserved swing at me. The reaction is instantaneous. I watch in silence as he curls in on himself, cradling his hand to his chest, his head bowed, shoulders heaving with sharp, near-mortal breaths. It takes a while for him to find his words. I wrestle with my impatience. Just stay cool, wait. Right when I'm about to blurt out something stupid, he speaks. I do not leave important decisions to a die roll. Absolutely not, you're right. It would be monumentally foolish. He lifts his gaze from the ring and looks at me with a piercing clarity. I plop down next to him, nodding at him to go on. This ring, I consider it my lifeline. It keeps me from drowning in the relentless flood of the voices inside my head. I know it. It doesn't shut them up entirely, but it dampens them, makes them manageable, subdued. Wait a minute. Is this why you're so obsessed about inner voices and that duskborn Sana? Yes, I'm searching for a more lasting solution, or for some clarity at least. Clarity on what? On what these voices actually represent? You don't know? I know. I've known these voices as long as I can remember. I understand why they grew stronger after my embrace, but I also know they're not like what others experience. Patrick, I'm so lost. What others are you talking about? He falls silent for a hot minute, the ring on his finger twitching incessantly. It's a truly irritating sight. I should probably look away before I'm tempted to yank it off again. I am Malkavian, Callie. The whole caitiff act is just a facade. I mean, they made it super obvious with the way he's dressed. I can't pat myself on the back for that. I'm so sorry. You're that Taylor Swift song now. Am I the asshole? I stole a guy's ring. God. They made it so super duper derided as lunatics by other vampires. They made it so super duper obvious, though. Okay, and his gaze, filled with suspicion, narrows on me. Don't seem terribly shocked. I mean, what are we if not the secrets we keep? Callie isn't even my real name, you know. Huh, what is it then? Slow down, Turbo. We're still unpacking your little masquerade here. What's up with that? Why, the pretense, you mean? Yeah, that. I get the gist, but I want to know the details. The deets are that Malkavians aren't exactly crowd favorites, particularly those among us with an uncanny insight into the future and no talent for concealing it. I know. I was thinking, okay, Jerry, you voiced what I was just thinking. I am particularly fond of caitiffs. I've played caitiffs before, me as a player, very rarely, but the very few clans I have played, Caitiff is among them because I love them and I think they're amazing. And I want a proper Caitiff protag. I really do. Someday we'll get it. Wait, hold up. You're telling me you can see the future? No, nothing so extravagant. I get feelings, hunches, occasional whispers offering me a glimpse of what might be. Sounds pretty nifty to me. Believe me, it's anything but. It's impossible to tell if these whispers are a boon or a bane. It's both. Por qué no los dos? Wait, so your own voices are screwing with you? Yes. That's seriously messed up. No response. I take it that he agrees. So these whispers, did they tip you off when you saved those anarchs 2 years back? He seemed surprised that I remember his little confession. In a way, I was lucky to guess right and lucky that Torque cut me some slack for my erratic gift. I nod silently, piecing together our conversation in my head. Everything clicks into place except for one nagging question. But if you understand these voices and their origins, why bother dissecting them? I hear many voices, each of them distinct but also the same. It is difficult to explain. But among them is one that's elusive. It doesn't come from any known place and can't be quieted, even by my ring. I need to uncover its source and purpose. So it's nastier than the others? Not exactly, just enigmatic, and there's only one. He pauses, his fingers inching towards that cursed ring. Then he clearly abandons what he was going to say. Nobody seems to know a damn thing about it. I squint at him, suspicion tightening my features. You're holding out on me again. Of course I am, but I'm being open about it. It's impossible to share everything about oneself. I find that fascinating, don't you? No matter how transparent you try to be, there are always aspects of your life you keep to yourself, intentionally or not. The nuances of our situations. What a load of crap. I mentally check out for a bit, then I cut off his philosophical rambling. Cool it, Gandalf. Keep your secrets. Fine, then. Keep your secrets. Just remember, I'm not letting fate roll the die for me. We already have one reckless idiot in this team, and that's me. He seems stunned, but in the end tosses me a small but genuine smile. I thank you, truly. Had I known you would be so understanding, I might have told you sooner. I apologize for misjudging you, Callie. Feelings! I want to say this. I want to say this one. I'm gonna say it. Stop making me feel things. It's not my style. It's so cute. So cute. As you wish. So, shall we go back to the important stuff? Let's do just that. We absolutely shall. An awkward silence falls, but the air feels lighter already. A layer of tension slides off me, and from Patrick's relieved expression, he's right there with me. So, Reynard, why is the circulatory system so obsessed with getting him out of the picture? I mean, there's the whole blood trade thing, sure, but why the sudden urgency? I'm guessing it's because they know something we don't. That's a reasonable hypothesis. Right? Every now and then I hit the nail on the head. Now, if the Camarilla hadn't swiped my laptop, I might have done some deep digging online with all my tech, but honestly, it probably wouldn't have made a damn difference. A behemoth like the circulatory system probably uses a sealed-off intranet for all their dirty laundry. If only I could hack into their database. But it's all coulda, woulda, shoulda at this point. Hold that thought. Getting into the circulatory system's database might be just within our grasp. I squint at him. He's full of surprises tonight. Must be the bloodshed getting to him. Have you... Oh, God, no. Have you ever come across someone named Kaiser? I don't think so. I have. Oh, God, he's annoying. Ooh. Feelings give me aggravated harm. Oh, I took an aggravated damage from that feeling. I don't think so. No hablo español. You mean alemán, but that's besides the point. Meaning English. Oh, God. Yeah, alemán meaning not English, meaning German. Alemania. German, Spanish. And French. And all the other Latin languages as well. Kaiser is quite the figure here in New York, a veritable eminence. I don't know this. Eminence Greece? Don't know what that means. Whose influence extends everywhere like a spider's web. There's little he doesn't know, even with the recent altercation with the La Sombra Primogen. Oh my god. Is he talking about Julia? What happened again? What altercation? I'm not privy to the particulars, only that it profoundly disturbed Kaiser. Huh. That Primogen sounds pretty cool, she is. I should definitely not meet with them then. I don't want no altercations. I doubt you have much say in whether the Primogen chooses to seek you out. Or is that Julia Sire? I don't remember. Anyhow, whoopsies. If we want to operate under the Camarillah's radar, Kaiser's our kindred. Yeah, but hooking up with someone like that, I mean, I'm not even planning to stick around New York much longer. Piling up debts while hunting for my sire sounds like a nightmare. That is fair. Well then, we don't have any other... Hold up. What about that Malkavian savant? Word on the street is she's pretty slick with intel. Hope! You know her, right? Clan to clan? Ah, you mean Hope, the CEO of Double Spiral. Right, her. She's famous for her tech chops. Heard some chatter about her back in LA, too. Well, she might not be the best fit for this job. Cracking open the database is one thing, getting her hands on it is another. But she's been a thorn in Kaiser's side lately, having steadily gained ground in his areas of influence. Maybe she's picked up some new tricks she hasn't unleashed yet. It's your call, Callie. This is about your sire, after all. Honestly, none of these options are exactly stellar, but beggars can't be choosers, right? Ooh, we're definitely doing Kaiser, so I can use my German accent. Although I love Hope, but I'm being selfish. Sorry. Hate to say it, but I think our best bet is the city's top info broker, risky as he seems. Alright, I'll set up a meeting for tomorrow night, just after sunset. Meet me at my haven as soon as possible. Oh my god, totally. Don't worry about it, I'll be right there. You'll find another place to crash tonight, I take it. He's learning. Neat. Yeah, but I'll be there. Pinky promise. He flashes me a knowing grin and nods. Then we go our separate ways, melting into the vanishing night. Kinda ironic, isn't it? The deeper I sink into this mess, the lighter I feel. Alright. I have a little bit of time before we go, but we're not going to do the next main quest. We're going to do these little side quests here, or at least one of them before we go, because my voice is giving out. Now I'm southern. Feeding opportunity, Hunts Point Landing. Feeding opportunity, the Unisphere. What the hell? Oh, I know. Wait, no, I know what the Unisphere is. I think you go there in coteries as well. And obviously I know what it is from real life. Yeah, I can feel the beast clawing at my insides, hungry and restless. Yeah, let's go there. Boom, Queens. It's pretty slim pickings out here at this hour. I was kind of expecting a parade of dog walkers or whatever. But nope, just a few souls wandering in pairs or threes, be it for warmth, companionship, or safety. Well, what can you do? Anybody else in here willing to donate some blood to a poor, starving vampire? I promise I'll bite. There's this girl parked on a bench and mindlessly munching on a slice of cold pizza. Sounds amazing. Her eyes are large and vacant as she stares into nothing, and ho, she's rocking only one scuffed stiletto. Must have been one hell of a party. I'm not in the mood for a fucked up residence, though, so I walk past her, noting her location just in case I change my mind. There's a guy with huge headphones on doing some sort of dance among the trees. He's wearing a t-shirt and no shoes, clearly on purpose, as he steps through the snow in slow, steady motions. His body a unified wave from the soles of his feet to the top of his head. Okay. I totally go for him, but he's sort of close to the lanterns and the main paths. I doubt he could be easily dragged away without a fuss. Regretfully, I leave him behind. Come on, just one easy-to-snatch mortal in the whole park. Is that too much to ask? Yeah, you walk away, Oh, no, it's this guy again. No! Yeah, you walk away, sheeple. I hope you get fucking mugged. I groan, looking for the source of that bullshit. No fucking way. You'll eat your words when Aaron Fletcher... For the love of... Are you kidding me now, Lady Luck? That asshole? Twice in the span of a night? It's fate. That's right, you... Wait a minute. He looks at me and I wave at him, delighting in the way he twitches and takes a step back. His face first grows pale, then red, as he starts boiling while pointing at me and screaming. Stupid bitch! You humiliated me for no fucking reason. There was a reason. How about I kick you in the cut? Kid, yeah, I put you in your place while the crowd cheered. You had nothing to do with that at all. I roll my eyes and start to walk away. No, let's get him. But he's a persistent little creep. Don't you dare walk away when I'm talking to you. He starts trailing after me, hurling insults along the way. You spawn of the devil, satanic slut. Wow, from a lowly devil spawn to a satanic slut? That's a nice jump up in the hierarchy. You should be burned at the stake, hanged, drowned in a river. Man, what a sad return to pointless death threats. He keeps at it for a hot minute, and I let him, even though there are so many moments when I just want to laugh in his face. Also, because while he's busy screaming at me, he isn't even aware that I'm leading him to a very conveniently secluded place. He doesn't notice until it's too late, and I turn to face him. For fornicating with the... He clams up real fast, seeing my sweet little smile. What was that? Fornicating? That's a big word for Elmo. I took a step closer, but terror roots him to the spot. Yes? With whom? The devil from the Bible? This guy's so stupid. Honestly, satanic slut is a good band. That's great. I'd love to be called I'd get satanic slut on a t-shirt. Slut is the highest level of Satanism? Is it? Dope. That's dope. One more step and... Oh, baby. It's much worse than that. Feed. I lunge at him, knocking him down like a rag doll before he can even raise his arms to defend himself. I cover his mouth with one hand, tilt his head away, and sink my fangs into his neck, drinking voraciously. The first punch that reaches my temple nearly knocks me off balance. Fuck, he really is all brawn and no brains. I quickly regain my footing, dismantle his guard, and latch onto his neck once more. He tries to fight back. He really does. He screams, flails around, hits me all over with steadily weakening punches. Fruitlessly. It's not exactly a pleasant feeling, but the taste of his blood more than makes up for the slight inconvenience. Thick, almost syrupy, full of caffeine, sugar, and the awful taint of off-brand protein powder. The vanilla kind. I drink more than necessary, reveling in the sensation, sating my hunger. I keep going long after he stops punching and starts weakly pawing at my back. He lies completely limp on the snow, its whiteness marred with a few small drops of crimson. I finally manage to come to my senses and detach myself from his neck, wiping my mouth with a bit of snow and my sleeve. The wacko looks like a corpse, but he's still breathing. With a little bit of luck, someone's gonna find him and wake him up before Christmas snow claims his ass. But that someone ain't gonna be me. Dawn is calling. I need to find myself a haven. Or perhaps a witch's cottage. For the Satanists, you see. Oh, God. Twin Temple, if you saw... Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sweet goth band name. Satanic... We're the Satanic Sluts? Oh, God. Okay. Next up, we'll be heading into night 4. I don't know how far away we are from the end of the game, if we're in the middle of the game. But I'm having a great time. I love the banter. It's such a well-written game. The art is amazing. I'm super excited to meet Kaiser again. He's been in every game. And Hope. I hope, you know, it's funny. I hope we also get to meet Hope. I hope, like, me picking Kaiser means we don't get to also meet Hope. But if we don't, you know, there's always a chance to play it again. Hope is great. I love me some Malkavian manic pixie dream girly pops. But I'm going to stop right here because, as you can already tell, my voice is dying. And I hope everyone has an amazing weekend. I'll be back here Thursday doing this again, 5 p.m. Central Eastern Standard Time or 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time if you're in the United States. And yeah, all this will go up on YouTube if you miss anything, and yeah, all that good stuff. So I hope everyone has an amazing weekend, and I'll see you on Thursday. Thank you, everybody.